Hi, it's Mark Kaufman again, and this is part 3 of building a proctoring integration using the source code for the BBDN-LTI tool provider and the BBDN-Python UEF code. So we've extended the Python UEF code to include proctoring in our integration tutorial integration.js, and we've gotten you to the point where you can click on the configure proctoring and you see it there, but there's not really a whole lot going on other than you can enable it and disable it. So now we're going to show you a little bit more how to actually put something in the portal that is created by the Ultra Extension framework. And so that code it's described down here in the portal render. And what we do is we'll add an event handler for a portal new, and we'll check if it's our proctoring settings, and we'll add that code to our tutorial integration.js. And basically what we're after at this point in the series, part 3 of this series, is when you go to your test settings and you go and click on configure proctoring settings, you're going to see your handle, your LTI tool provider, a managed placement handle show up, the name of that managed placement that Blackboard created for you. That's a proctoring handle. And then when you turn on enable proctoring, we want to see this proctoring service settings and then the content ID show up. So we're going to show you how to do that. So what we've got here is we've got a working demonstration. I can show you that the code does work. So we go into a course, the same course that we had in part 2 of this series, in part 1. We go to into the course. We can see all the Ultra tutorial events going on over here. We go into our test and we click on configure proctoring settings. And you can see I'd already checked the enable proctoring. I'm going to hit save. It actually remembers between sessions. I think there's something saved off somewhere with this that is actually saving it. So when you first go in, you'll see your configure proctoring settings. It'll look like this. Here's the name of my proctoring service tool provider handle, the managed placement name. And when I click enable proctoring, you can see that this text shows up, proctoring service settings and the course ID, and then I can hit save. And now it's saved off. They've been, it says, actually here it says now the code says they've been applied. So the Ultra Extension framework remembers that. So and we hit save and it'll save it off. And it does some things for us, like if I turn it back off, you notice it does and I hit save, it'll do a pop-up here, say, are you really sure you want to do this? Because you'll lose things and you don't even have to write that code. That's built into the UEF code that manages proctoring for you. So what code did we do? Well, we took code from the sample and we added, in this section of our tutorial, where we look for an event, and I've clearly labeled the proctoring pieces here now. If we look for an event, and that was the event type route, so now we're going to look for an event type for a new portal, because that's what this little piece is. When we click this, there's a new portal event that actually happens. And so what we want to do is we say, okay, we got a new portal, and the data selector is it's a proctoring settings portal. So we'll carry on, and we'll get our portal ID, and we'll get our content ID, and then what we do here is we actually build some content to put in the portal. So you can see what I did is I have children, I have a tag div, so that this one is separated by a line from this one. So I have the proctoring service settings text and then the course ID text, and I can do that there. Now, of course, you're going to want to have much more complicated proctoring settings in this, and we've got some example source that we'll share where you can actually put the proctoring settings frame that goes in that portal, you can put that in a separate file, put that HTML file, and then you can run code to actually manage the proctoring settings. So we've got sample code for that. That'll come in the next part 4 of this series. And that's going to happen, well, it's May the 26th right now as I'm making this video. And I don't know how far I'll get on this tutorial or this series between now and Friday. It's Wednesday, May the 26th. And if I can get this done by Friday, I will. Otherwise, I'm going to be taking some time off, and I'll be back late in June to finish up how to do this bit here. But right now, you've got what you need, and you could actually figure out how to do the JavaScript to basically. This is all just, you could actually fill this in with JavaScript. You can see in the example here where in his proctoring scenario, he actually loads the panel source with a method, and he pulls that in so that then when he down here, instead of you see here in this code that we wrote for the sample, we have the contents to send, and then we do down here we say let me pause a minute. Well, in our post message we say contents to send. That's this content that we built up here. In this sample, if we look at it, the contents to send is actually here, and he does the same thing, contents to send. But here in the properties for the contents to send, this is where he pulls in the source from another file and uses that. So whereas here for our contents to send, we look at, yeah, see here we put it in an iframe over here, whereas here we just put it, we do a tag div, and then we do some children here, and rather than doing props. So once we get to part 4 of this tutorial, it'll look more like this when we're done. But right now what we're doing is what we have here, which is just we're building the contents to send right in line here. You could probably put this constant elsewhere in the code and then put a lot there. And then when you rendered it, you would see when you sent that to the UEF, send a message to the UF to render it, it would build out whatever you put up here. So anyways, once again, we've got you to the part where you can enable proctoring, and you see what you can put some stuff in the little portal here and hit save, and it'll save it off. So until part 4 of this video series, have a good day. I hope this is helpful.